In a world crying out for a top 10 show, John Roca and Matt Nost are here. So grab your assigned seat, sit back, and enjoy this week's Top 10. Brought to you by the Schmoes Know Network. Take it away, boys.
Welcome, everybody, to the Top 10 Show Recap and Review for Hail Caesar. I'm John Roca.
I'm Matt Nost.
And we wanted to do this on the heels of having done the Coen Brothers movie show that we did last week.
Yeah, we did it, because this movie was coming out. We did the Coens last week, and we both saw Hail Caesar over the weekend.
We did.
So we were going to sit down and talk about it today.
Welcome.
If this is before 12 p.m. noon,
Oh, yeah.
you can still vote on our Facebook or Twitter pages, or Twitter account, rather, for what you'd like to see us do for the, what do we call it? Recap.
The fan requested recap.
Yeah, the requested recap.
Requested recap.
So the voting on that on Facebook and Twitter will be done by 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Friday.
Right.
When
this
is
comes
the day
out.
you're listening to this.
Yeah, but a bunch of people download
Oh, yeah.
12 hours before because it goes up at midnight.
So if you're not listening to this, if you're listening to this and it's after Friday at noon on the West Coast,
Tough shit.
you're SOL.
Tough shit.
Yeah.
Those things are time-stamped.
Yeah.
And I will be done counting at some point. And at some point, it's 12 noon on Friday. Last week, we got 100 votes, so it was great.
It was great.
Hopefully, we get even more this week.
Yeah, if you haven't downloaded yet, it's over there on our iTunes.
Yep.
For the movie Goodfellas, which you guys wanted us to talk. Even though we've talked about it a number of times on the show, you guys wanted us to talk about it a little bit more in depth, which I think we got to, right?
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that.
Hopefully, we accomplish that now.
Yeah, that's good. Oh yeah, for this. So okay, well, what'd you think?
I liked it.
Okay,
but I need to see it again. This is where I walked out and I was envious of your AMC pass.
Oh yeah,
because I would see it probably within the week.
Yeah,
I would see it again this week.
Yeah.
Because I genuinely liked it. I laughed out loud at numerous spots, and that surprised the living shit out of me.
Right.
Because sometimes Coens take time to build their world.
Yep.
And I was kind of, maybe just because it's about Hollywood, so you know a little bit of it. And I know, with, my wife saw it with me. Yeah. Certain jokes resonated more with me, just because I've experienced some things like that, or I've seen things that have happened like that, or just throwaway things. Oh, by the way, spoiler alert.
Oh, yeah. If you haven't seen the movie.
Thanks for the download.
Yeah. Go see the movie.
Yeah, right before we're actually going to get into anything. Spoiler alert. We have warned you at the 3-minute mark, or the whatever this is.
I can't remember to do that every time. Why can't we?
It's all right. Before we did it before we said anything.
It's a fair point. You're right. We did.
So nobody can fucking say shit.
That's right.
And if you do, good luck to you, because I'm, once again, you're yelling into the abyss. So right. I don't know who you're mad at, but it's not us. All the stupid shit that they peppered in, when Fiennes is walking up as the exasperated director.
Oh, my Lord.
After he tries to give him the...
With it twice so simple.
With it twice so simple. That goes on for so long, and I can see where it would grate on other people, and I was just it keeps going. And the other actor, I can't believe I've never seen him in anything.
No, and everyone's talking about how this is a breakout role for him. He's so good.
He's great. He more than carries his own in these scenes.
Oh, absolutely.
He is just great.
Yeah.
With a twist. He just keeps saying, but he's doing it through the guise of that thick Southern accent, which I don't know if he carries the rest of his time. I've never heard him speak.
I don't know.
So if he just has another, now he's doing a second layer. Yeah. He's doing basically an impression of Fiennes, as Fiennes is doing himself too. And he goes, and then they just eventually change the line to "It's complicated."
Yeah.
Just after all that, it was great. When what is it? Barrett's what is Brolin's character's name?
Yeah, I think it's Barrett.
Something like that.
Yeah.
When he's watching the dailies of Clooney, and Clooney's supposed to be in awe of Christ up on the cross.
Oh, my Lord.
And you just hear the director, no, with your eyebrows. But you're focused on, so you're not really paying attention. Then I was looking at the screen to watch Clooney as this, and I'm just like, oh, fuck, I've been a part of things like that where it's just this, I want this, and be like, I'm doing Okay. I think I'm giving you what you want. I don't know precisely. There's so many things like that.
Yeah.
I loved how they used a bunch of the camera tricks from that era's cinema.
Oh yeah.
So, like with the cowboy scenes, when the guy is running down and he disappears for a nanosecond and a stuntman jumps up and jumps onto the horse, it's exactly how they would have shot it. It's great. Or like the Channing Tatum, when he drops his elbow on the end to start the song at the end of the piano and hits the one note, and he slowly turns to his left and sings a note, "There Were No Dames" or whatever.
Right.
And the actor sits down behind him, but now Channing is blocking the view of the hands. So the guy's just pantomiming, playing the piano.
Oh.
And just like they were done back in the day, the camera tricks, as the camera starts to move, so does Channing, so his chest blocks the hands perfectly.
Oh, wow.
And it just follows it, and then right when they fade out, you don't see the actor anymore, but the piano is still going. It's they mimicked a ton of techniques from the movies of those times.
Yep.
So I was enraptured by that. But it's one of those of I can't decipher the meaning of it.
Okay.
And I feel like it has some sort of meaning.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is, and that's the only reason I don't love it.
Okay.
I need to figure out what that is.
I here's what I would say. I enjoyed the scenes. To me, the movie felt like a bunch of one acts, a night of one acts.
Okay.
Because there's just these little sequences of scenes with just these people, and they never come back again. The Ray Fiennes scene with him, never comes back again. And then he never has.
Except to tie it in with Channing Tatum's when you find out that Tatum was Lorenz's old boyfriend.
Right, but that's alluded
like
to.
little things.
It's not like he isn't on screen to hear that being said.
True.
That's what I'm saying. And then Scarlett Johansson, you build this whole character about she's pregnant or she wants to adopt or have her kid be adopted.
She needs to create publicity for herself.
All this, right? Exactly, all this stuff. So it's to me, it was just snapshots into people's lives. And these directors,
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. But I was just going to say these directors. I mean, these actors are so good that they're with the limited amount of screen time they had, they still created these very rich and lifelike characters. Like they're very interesting characters, all of them. Scarlett almost never plays a part like that, and it was great. Tough talking, no nonsense, to the point. On top of it, right? Josh Brolin playing the type of character he doesn't usually play, which is a fumbling. I bet 5 years ago that's a Clooney character. I bet 5 years ago that's Clooney doing that.
Probably.
Yeah,
There's some others.
Makes sense.
I think like 8 years ago, the Jonah Hill is a Stephen Root.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think I would have liked it better as a Stephen Root.
Probably.
Yeah.
Because there was nothing going on. And then what happens to her? She ends up marrying the guy who she met.
Because then it's publicity. But if you just look at it through Josh Brolin's eyes, this is just a day in the life of dealing with all these idiots.
But it's a weird thing with the Josh Brolin thing is weird too, though, because he's an executive. He's the production head of the company. He's not going to be living in that small-ass house he's having kitchen dinner with. It's going to be a bigger... it was weird.
We only saw that one room. We didn't see the rest of the house.
Yeah, but that's a really small kitchen for one room, man.
Yeah, but at the same time, there's an adage of the kitchen is for the servants.
Yeah.
And like in old mansions, the kitchen wasn't nice because me as the master, I'm not spending any fucking time in here, so I don't care. We're not wasting extra square footage in this house for this.
Right.
It's just here to make me meals.
Yeah.
So it could be a really old grand house. Who knows?
I guess it just seemed to me like for a guy on his salary, it seemed like a small thing to. I just didn't sense a through line. That was my problem with the movie, Matt. Is I don't sense a through line.
The through line
There's
was
no
just like
arc.
that's it's just the one day. It's the anarchy of Brolin's world of dealing with all these trying to micromanage, and that's why leaving to go to Boeing doesn't make sense because that's going to be an easy job, and he likes the amount of pressure this has put on him to kind of keep all these Fabergé eggs being juggled in the air right now because they're all valuable, but they're all fragile, and I got to keep them up in the air. We got to keep things getting. That's where he seems to exist best. What I didn't understand is anytime they cut to so they'll do the setup to one of the quote unquote movie scenes, the movie within the movie.
Yeah.
And then when they actually cut it over into and you start to view the movie being shot, so you see this take, it turns surrealistic to where some of like in the synchronized swimming, when the fountain water keeps hitting you in the face, it felt dreamlike.
Wow.
It was, through like the vivid Technicolor, they're bringing something to life. Right. And the dancing sequence, there's so much choreography and everything goes off without a hitch.
Right.
And then when it cuts, it goes right back to real life. So it's like, okay, so maybe there's some sort of meaning there. But then the real world while it's still Cohen interesting, it's still the real world. But the submarine scene seemed like it was a movie one put into real life, and I'm like, okay, now I'm lost.
Yeah.
Because all the surrealistic shit was done, so you're almost looking through the lens of the camera as it's taking a take, and you're kind of reliving vicariously the movie magic of it all happening once, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
And then this sub shows up, and you're like, wow, nothing else in the real world has felt like this. So why this choice?
Right.
That's what I don't. There's a few things like that. Where
And that's what bothered me about the film is there was enough loose ends that made no sense. Like you bring up these characters and build them up and give them screen time and give us like a opportunity to connect, and then it doesn't go anywhere. It just does what it does. And I think that's my problem with the film overall is I didn't sense there was a purpose or a through line or a reason. Or just something that would have tied it all together and made it worth it to me. It just felt like one X, everyone separated into little things.
I could see that.
Yeah, I mean,
I bought Brolin pulling us in and out of all of them.
Yeah,
was fine.
Okay. I mean, the Scarlett Johansson thing was great. It was a great homage to Esther Williams.
I didn't like. I wasn't on board when she's sitting in the director's chair, like what they're called.
Yeah.
But the scene with Jonah Hill. I mean, she is smoldering.
Mm-hmm.
She is great. Like, I don't know what the difference between the two was, or the day's shoot, or whatever the case was. Who knows? Like, she was phenomenal in that.
Yeah,
and she was great on the the swimming and whatnot. But, just that I don't know. I just felt it felt so strange.
Yeah.
And then later on, I completely bought it. So
right, but because she ends up marrying Jonah Hill, and you're like, okay, sure, why not?
Yeah, but as soon as he did, it put a smile on my face. It was like, okay, they're going to get the publicity they want for her.
Yeah.
And she's getting what she wants out of it, which is a temporary marriage, which will fail soon enough. But the general public loves her. Her pictures do 17 million.
That's true.
So.
Well, it's weird because there isn't even like a active solving of the case of the crime. The communists have all this conversation that they want to do all this kind of stuff. And it's all a bunch of character actors. But then they leave Clooney by himself. And the cowboy kid shows up with the chest, hides it, but he's like, "What's the point of all of that?" Like I didn't understand because then the money comes out, it goes down. There's no obstacle that he has to overcome to get George Clooney. None, absolutely zero. Clooney comes right on back. The money itself gets lost at sea because Channing just throws it away to hold on to his dog.
Well, no, the dog jumps at the same time. The dog jumps. I'm sorry, you're right.
So here's the deal, Matt. I spent a lot of time thinking about this film for the last 2 days because I just was like analyzing. So to me, it feels like it's a shot at our obsession for movies, our desire to create gods within movies, like the actors, what have you, directors sometimes, but people that are somehow better than us for whatever reason. And so I feel like they're deconstructing that whole myth and tearing it apart. Like these are just movies, and we just write stuff and film it. It's not that big of a deal.
But now you're saying the studio head then is the altruistic.
Yeah,
one.
well, that's what I'm saying. I would love to hear how it got through credentials, just to see what else could have been there, or what they left out. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, what's on the cutting room floor?
Yeah.
Or what was in the script that didn't get filmed?
No, more what's in the cutting room floor.
Okay.
Because I just expected more. Just more reasons. I mean, no obstacles had to be overcome. None. The guy drives out, gets the money, gets George Clooney, comes back.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, if every problem has that, then it doesn't bother me as much as opposed to, like, the most difficult ones resolve themselves, and he micromanages these other bullshits.
Yeah.
So the fact that it kind of all just like this, wave, it's up and down and up and down and up and down, but ultimately it just comes back to where it was. So that's what I took. I mean, that didn't bother me as much. I mean, I could see that where it's rather convenient that Clooney just manages to walk out right as the cops were showing up.
Oh, yeah.
Which then would have made it a huge incident. So now they're saved the PR nightmare there.
Yeah.
And then the next day he gets the dust off, whichever sister Tilda Swinton was playing.
Yeah.
And give her, like, you don't want to go forward with that story because that guy's now confirmed communist. And that's great. Yeah, I just don't know. What the movie is actually about.
Yeah, that's the thing, and I think that's what I think it's about. It's about the destruction of capitalism and the economy of like wanting to revere these people who do, and not knowing that behind the scenes, this is how they create this magic that you go nuts about. Just putting things together, moving this guy around from a contract player to a player to the studio which is why he ends up there. And they don't even check his English accent if he can say this thing. It's all just so interesting the way it plays out, all of it. But there's no protagonist, and there's weird sequences that have no business being in the film, like Frances McDormand's hair getting caught in the projectile.
That was her.
What was the point of that? It was
her
funny.
scarf. Yeah, it was great.
Scarf, right? But what was the point of it? There was no point of it, because in the end, there's no payoff for that at all in any way, shape, or form. Why would that happen?
Now just to
nowhere.
add a tiny bit of humor as they're watching dailies, I guess.
Yeah, I guess, but it just goes nowhere. So it's like, oh, okay, it's fine. And I just wanted more from it than I got, and I'm just in a little bit of a state of disappointment about the film in the end.
Yeah, you know what? I think with more viewings,
Yeah,
as long as I can come to some sort of or come to terms with whatever I feel like the film is about.
yeah,
If I can solidify that, then I can derive, more enjoyment out of it long term.
right.
If I don't, then I think I might enjoy certain parts of it, and certain things will make me laugh. And
Yeah,
it's beautifully shot.
absolutely.
Everybody is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Even like the choreography with the dance sequence is great.
Yeah.
And the stupid little things like the date that Hobie goes on with the Latina. She's the.
Oh yeah,
They
the
allude.
dates. Yes,
they allude to her. She's like I can't remember the.
It's Carmen Miranda.
Carmen Miranda. Thank you. That's what I was struggling for. It's like
basically what she's
bananas
being.
and the fruit on her head.
Yeah.
Yeah. She dances around, but you would have these kids go out, maybe drum up, and they could do a little bit more picture and simple PR, moves like that.
Right.
I like the charm of the film tremendously.
Absolutely, Matt. I think what we've talked about on the Coen Brothers show, we talked about their ability to create the world from scratch. Like once you watch, what you're watching is the world. There's not one thing out of place, not one thing that shouldn't be in there. Everything is constructed to give you the vibe of that time and that period, or what was happening for that time and that period. And they do a great job with that through every single one of the scenes. I mean, I thought the future thing, the communist, I thought that could have been so much funnier, and they could have dragged that out a little bit longer.
Sure.
He gets into some philosophical. They all come out and have beers, and then they walk out to the pier and take the boat out. And it's like, well, you're leaving your main hostage. You're leaving one person with him just in case. It was kind of weird,
Still, though, in their eyes, they've gotten away with it this long. There is no paper trail. Nobody can find them.
That's a good point.
And they know that he's not going to leave. Even when he did the one thing you don't want to do is technically a hostage, which is, what if I tell people? Which is great, because in this room of intellectuals, none of them are going to do anything. It's a hypothetical to them.
Right.
It's not a reality.
Right.
So the threat of, well, we know you won't, that's not a threat, especially when you deliver it in the way that you do. So I just love that he turned the table on all these guys, because they hadn't really thought that he would do that.
Right.
Because it's just kind of, hostage 101, you just say that you won't say anything.
Yeah.
So to actually go, I'd rat you guys. I know a couple of your names at this point. But I love later on when he's trying to tell Brolin, it's like, these guys got it all figured out.
Yeah.
And he starts talking about the evils of capitalism and whatnot, and Brolin just comes over and fucking puts him in his place, but then also instills in him movie star confidence.
Yep.
Right at the end. He's this, dog with a tail between his legs. All right, now go out there and be a badass.
Yeah. He dresses him down, then sends him back out there.
Yep.
Well, this is the thing about Clooney that's so fantastic, man. His ability to play levels or status, it's so fun to watch. He's eminently watchable, and
I can't wait to go back and rewatch just him in the background.
Yeah.
As they're doing other things around, like watching his dailies, or when they're holding that laugh for so long.
Yeah.
His dialogue, just that bullshit way of they're trying to take what they thought the ancients would talk like, but with pseudo English accents.
Yeah.
And going through these huge, thick, and he did this and blah 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 blah. And it was just like, wow, this, you had to learn quite a bit for this.
Yeah, it was very strange, because they do a great job of creating the world, but then they have the right actors cast in those parts to dial you into the world.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This is something Clooney's always been known for, as being the next Cary Grant, he's an homage to the older times. So it's funny to see him play this like kind of bumbling Roman general, maybe near the end of his run as a somewhat bankable movie star,
Yeah.
or from that time, all of it. And so when he has the Jesus, that is, Matt, tears were coming out of my eyes how funny that was.
Oh, I just love he goes through that huge spiel and then screws up, like he can't remember faith or whatever it was.
Faith.
And everybody, like people are moved in the room and they start getting sucked into faith. And then the guy who's been in a million great things can't remember his name.
Yeah.
But he's the guy standing next to us, like, you almost had it. You know what I mean? Like he's just another actor in the scene.
Right.
Just like, yeah, I thought you were going to do it. I
Yeah.
thought you were going to barrel through that.
Oh, Clancy Brown.
Thank you.
Who's his guy?
Yeah.
He's like, the guy from Shawshank, which
Yeah.
is great. Yeah.
He's been a million, like, oh, fuck, there he is.
Yeah. Did you catch that Christopher Lambert was the director? The guy from Highlander? That's Christopher Lambert.
I did not.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's a cameo you should watch for. That is Christopher Lambert as that director that gets confronted by Josh Brolin, trying to tell him to stop sleeping with whoever he was sleeping with when they're having that conversation. So
Keep your eye out for that one.
Yeah. I wanted to like it more than I did. Unfortunately, I mean, it's certainly watchable if you're a Coen Brothers completist. Sure, watch it.
I think if you're a Coen Brothers fan, it's worth it.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fair.
I mean, like, my brother and my nephew saw it, and I talked to my nephew,
Yeah.
and he was like, what was the point? That's
Yeah.
all he told me before I saw it, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, going into it, I knew that was his critique,
Yeah.
and I don't have an answer to that question. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm still trying to decipher it for myself. So
It just felt like to me, it's the message kind of hit me a couple of times. If that's really the message, or maybe I'm reading into it, but that's the message that I think. So it's like, okay,
I don't know.
what's the end
Maybe it
result
is.
of doing it? Well, I mean, Matt,
What's the end result of doing anything?
Well, there we go. Now we're going to get into another podcast. It's all
Yeah.
philosophical.
Well, it's a philosophical discussion, but I mean, it's kind of I don't think it's one of those types of movies like a Boyhood of that's it just ends and you're like, yeah.
Yeah, no, I know. It didn't have that same kind of convention or structure, which is why I was fascinated by the fact that they brought in all these characters and cast them in such ways, but like their through lines go nowhere. Like there's no payoff to any of their through lines. None of them. Clooney's a bumbling idiot. He goes back to being the money gets tossed into the water. What was the point of Channing Tatum paying to have him be framed or have him be kidnapped so that he could take a spot if he doesn't stay to take a spot? He just jumps on a fucking submarine and disappears. Those are those things that, like, well, why?
Hold on,
Why?
so I must have missed that. Channing Tatum, his rationale for doing this was to take Clooney's spot?
Well, yeah, it would seem logical because why would he set Clooney up to? Why would he have Clooney kidnapped?
To get the money so then he could, go to communist Russia. That's what I don't know. But I mean,
Yeah,
it
but
seemed
then
like.
threw the money out in the water. He didn't even dive after it. He took care of the dog instead and went.
Well, it's also a way of sticking it to this capitalistic enterprise has been exploiting my labor and the labor of these writers.
Yeah.
So I got 100,000. So the 100,000 is actually meaningless to me, whereas the act of doing it has
Yeah.
the value.
Yeah.
Whereas the writers, it was both. It was great. The briefcase went in the water, and they're all just like,
Yeah, see, and is that a shot at the writers for the money? Like, it's these little. I just wonder if there's a little more of a sinister
Well, yeah.
bent to it, like a little more of a dig to everyone in Hollywood.
Could be.
I don't know,
Could be.
and that's what I was looking for because you know my mind is. I like to find the symbolism of something if it feels like it's not necessarily a linear type thing,
Maybe
and I
it's
couldn't find it.
the
100%.
Coens ran into a studio head that felt he was angelic and everybody else was wrong, and then this is his. But ultimately, Brolin comes out as angelic. I mean, the guy goes to confession
Yeah.
every 24 hours.
Yeah,
He doesn't have a lot of the
stop
time
smoking.
currently for his wife, but he tries.
right, and then it's interesting. And then the wife, what's her face from Scott Pilgrim? She's only in there a little bit, and then she's out. Like just that one.
You really
sequence.
don't need that much more.
Alison
of her.
Pill.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's not much. It's just interesting, man. It's because I'm like, okay, why show me the wife and the kids if this is not really supposed to be what I'm supposed to gravitate onto, like as a encompassing character for Josh Brolin. I didn't sense like, well, why are you showing me this? Why do I need to see this? Like an hour and 20 minutes in the movie, all of a sudden we have the dinner scene with his wife. I'm like, what's the point of it? Like, where does this go?
Well, maybe to see that he's above the fray of all the fraternizing and womanizing that all the other stars are doing, that he is actually a family man. He would be home more if he could, but he's got to be out micromanaging all these people and girl taking pinup shots at, whatever time in the morning that
Right.
was and
Right.
all that shit. His job is all these things.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's the best, altruistic character in the film.
Yeah.
And he slaps around a man and a woman.
Yeah. That's true. He does, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even catch
We
that.
open with the slapping of the woman and we close with the slapping of the man.
Right.
And that's, but that's his job.
Yeah.
And he's the best character in this, technically, because you're just assuming Clooney's done a bunch of,
Yeah.
hedonistic stuff because he keeps alluding to all the fun and parties he had.
Right.
Communists or pinko scum. You know what I mean? fucking better dead than red.
I did enjoy the future, like those guys, like Max, what's his face from Gigi, that show. David Krumholtz. He's the guy in the mustache. They keep telling him to shut up.
Okay.
Telling him to shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought the fat guy was Patton Oswalt. It wasn't.
I'd have to go look it up. It was a couple guys of like, no, I've seen you before.
Yeah. Especially the dude with the white hair, with the more angular face. Seen him in a million things.
Yeah.
He was in Lost or whatever, and
playing a nebbish kind of.
Yeah.
Sometimes Weasley, sometimes not.
Yeah.
But
he always has that same delivery. But yeah, it was nice to see them create the figurehead. But then there's not like it's just. What was the point of everything if there wasn't something to connect them all?
I don't know. That's what I think I need to see it again, and maybe a third time, and trying to sort of like conclude some, not conclude, but come up with some idea as to what it is.
You're chasing the tail of the dragon, man. You want to go down that hole, don't you? Yeah, I don't know if there's anything more we can say about the film. I thought
so you would say basically wait for the DVD.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I think the score was great. I know, because it's not a film that you need to see on screen, you know?
No, although it felt like 3D would have been, well, just because like the fountain coming up and like with the dancing and whatnot, it seemed like they kind of shot it with 3D in mind at times.
They might have. And then
like
behind you.
If you're a Coen fan, I would say see it.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a comedy, I don't know how, like some of the, like when Ray Fiennes walks up after the first take. He tried to give him, he's like, that was my fault. It just, but like he's stammering because his brain is trying to like, how do I talk to this fucking dipshit?
Right.
How do I, what's the Enigma code to get through to his stupidity? It's what it is. And he's just like, he's holding back at various other times, like, stammering like ever so slightly.
Yeah.
He's trying to keep his composure. There's like little things and like that within the movie like that, but I don't know if some of it you may need to have experienced or been on a set, or it helps sell it a little bit.
Yeah.
And I've never seen Channing more comfortable than in those dancing scenes.
He was great in that dancing scene.
Dude, I told my wife after the movie, I was like, I'm guessing he made a lot of money as a male dancer.
Yeah.
Because there were a few moves like where he back rolled onto the bar and then just went 90 degrees with his toes up in the air. And you're like, dude, that takes like full body muscle, great core. And if you were doing that oiled up and whatnot, I'm sure the whole room, all 200 women were like, throwing dollars or whatever the fuck they do there. I have no idea. That dude must have raked it in. Just seeing that one move, and you're like, fuck, who has that ability in Hollywood?
Yeah, not really many.
Yeah.
It's true.
And can act.
Yeah.
It's a small list.
I'm not going to argue, man. Oh, and you have the Tilda Swinton, the sisters. Nothing comes to fruition of that. Like, why is it a big deal that they're made in? I get it's a reference to Luella Parsons and her sister.
Yeah, the gossip columnist from back in the
time.
day.
But
and then also there's the advice columnists that are sisters from the 30s, 40s, 50s. I think they went up into, what were those called? There were two sisters, and like one had one region and the other had the other region. Really? Yeah.
Okay.
But they were in practically every paper.
Interesting.
Like, ask something, or dear so-and-so. Yeah. And they would reply. So whatever it is, like, my husband has been doing this, or, you know, my kid's at school, blah, 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 and they just ask advice. I can't remember. I can't believe I'm flaking on who that is.
Interesting.
So I figured it was something along those lines.
Yeah, I mean, you can give me all the reasons that it could possibly work. I just felt for me, overall, the film didn't have enough of a through line throughout. Yeah. Like, what was the whole point of anybody? Everyone's conflict was resolved easily.
True.
You know, and that's what I'm like, well, what's the point of this? You know, I mean, what kind of movie are you making? And if you're making this kind of movie that's a message against the cinema gods or materialism, then show me something near the end that puts me in that vibe, so I know the message has been received. Other than that, I felt like when I walked out, all four of us looked at each other. We were just like, the fuck did we just see? What the fuck did we just see?
Yeah, so. See, we walked out, both went, I like it. I can't put my finger on why exactly I like it.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I need to see it and go, okay,
yeah,
what exactly is compelling me to like this? Is it just because I love Coen Brothers movies, so I'm trying to lie to myself?
Right.
But I don't think it's that, because normally when I do that, I know it's a lie as soon as it crosses my lips and be like, you don't fucking believe that at all.
Yeah.
It happens. What are you going to do? You know what I mean? We're all full of shit.
Well.
You're saying you're never full of shit?
I'm saying we're not all full of shit. We don't have to be full of shit.
I'm not saying 100% of the time.
Yeah.
I'm saying people bullshit and everybody bullshits, so we're all full of shit. Ergo, it's great logic, John. Just go with me.
I'm there. I'm riding that train right now, man. The score is great. I thought the music was great. The sequences that they shot. I mean, all that stuff is worth going. Yeah, if you're a fan of old Hollywood, I think it's a good reason to go see it. Why not? They do a nice job bringing those sequences to life. So I can't argue that. I give it 2 stars or 2.5 stars. I wanted to give it 3 or 4. I wanted to enjoy the shit out of it. So that's what I would say. What about you?
Well, we've never given a star rating ever.
Oh.
So now you're thrusting this upon me.
Oh, I apologize. It's just random talk for me in my head. So it's just the way I am sometimes.
I mean, do you mean how many out of 10 I would give it?
5.
Oh, I'm trying to do a little tie-in with the name of our show, so we have a system in place. You cut me off before I even got. I said 10, and you're like 5. 5 as I'm trying to deal with the bubbles from my sparkling cranberry juice, which is delicious, by the way.
Sparkling cranberry juice
From Ocean Spray.
Delicious from Ocean Spray.
And Ocean Spray, if you're listening, we just endorsed your product, so little cash, a little kickback for us on this side.
Wouldn't hurt anybody.
International audience, exactly. Or send us free Ocean Spray.
Come on, at Ocean.
We'll drink it here, and you can hear it as we do the pull tab each week, and just refreshing it. Be like, oh, this smells delicious. I can't wait.
We should talk about Clooney. What did you think about him in the movie?
I thought it was great.
Yeah, right?
That was great.
He does this kind of stuff in his sleep now. He's so good at it. His comedic timing is so good.
And he's also good at not really caring how he comes across.
Yes.
Or how he looks.
Yeah.
Or he has no problem playing, he's not the fool.
Yeah.
But he's also not the brightest bulb.
Yeah.
He's a Hollywood actor. What the country assumes a Hollywood actor is kind of like.
Yeah, and he's having that conversation getting influenced by... I mean, the fact that they made an illusion that, like, their endings are communist on purpose, like, it's just interesting. I just wonder what the point of the movie was. I feel like
I don't know.
There's something deeper underneath everything we saw. And I would love to hear an interview with them explaining what their purpose was for the movie. Because then I think it'll unlock the doors for me of understanding it more.
Yeah, there was a after movie Q&A they projected up, but I didn't stay to watch.
Oh, wow.
It seems to be the late night Sundays at ArcLight. They'll do that for...
Oh, yeah, ArcLight Presents.
Yeah.
They'll do those things.
A few different... But each time, I'm with her and she has no interest in staying to see a Q&A with whoever it is, the director or the screenwriter or something. So I've never seen one. They just always give you the announcement at the top. Hey, stay tuned. Not quite stay tuned, but stick around for.
Yeah.
And if I was there solo or with friends, then we would probably stick around and watch it. But
I always tell anyone to go on a date, if we're going to the movies and there's Q&A, we're staying for the Q&A. Just letting you know, or the date's over.
That's a local rule right there.
Right. I'll take Uber home. That's fine. I mean, I just would rather, because Q&As, man, it's so fast. It's just like what we do talking about movies, to hear the Q&A.
Hear the thought process.
Right. And it's fascinating to hear the things that connect for them that influence the film or influence the writing of the film, So it's very much a companion piece to Barton Fink, I feel like, this movie.
Interesting.
With the comments about movies, comments about the reality of stuff, comments about, like, what kind of world this is. The fact, like, the whole Lockheed subplot was so strange. Like, I'm like, what was the point of this?
To make Brolin make a choice as to, do I really want this as my life?
Yeah.
But it's the only thing I can think of. It's the most obvious, but I don't have anything beyond that.
I think that's a very good analysis of it. My problem is that there wasn't enough for us to connect to it with Brolin that it would matter
to make him
us.
want, to stay or to go.
Yeah, it didn't matter.
I'll give you that.
Yeah. Anyway, but like I said, or like we've said, like, it's definitely worth your time if you're a Coen Brothers fan, or if you're, in my opinion, fan of old movies. Certainly with your time.
Sure.
I mean, that's my 2 cents.
Out of 10 stars.
Hello.
I can't believe we're doing 10.
I give it 7.5.
I give it 7 3/4.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know. I need to see it again before I actually. Once again, I don't have a firm opinion other than I know I liked it. I just don't know precisely why yet.
Yeah.
And it could be in time that I was wrong my initial, but I don't think I will be.
It just felt like 10-1X, in my opinion.
Okay.
A night of 1X. It felt like. But I'm not saying don't go see it. So I want to make that clear. That's my 2 cents on the movie. What's your 2 cents on the movie?
Yeah, I would say go see it. If you're a Coen fan, if you're looking for like a laugh out loud comedy, you're not going to find it here. Although I did laugh out loud a few times when I'm saying like something that's uproarious the entire time and there's punchline. No.
Yeah. This
is characters and you're getting a behind the scenes
Yeah.
of old Hollywood-ish.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, well, that's our recap and review of Hail Caesar on the Top 10 show. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for downloading this. Tell a friend. Is Matt?
Yeah, tell a friend. If it's before 12 p.m. Noon East, Pacific Standard Time, you can still vote on our Facebook or Twitter page for next week's recap that we're going to do. I already lost it again. Between Galaxy Quest and Star Trek 2.
Requested
recap.
Requested recap.
We got to come up with something snappier.
Yeah,
apparently. It's not sticking.
Listen, it's on the fly. We're just on the fly.
It is.
Please keep leaving us comments. We appreciate reading them. Sometimes commenting back and hearing the back and forth with the fans is always one of my favorite things.
Yeah,
because you hear other people's reasons for why they like certain things.
Yeah, you get a different perspective, a new opinion, and
it's amazing how some things that you didn't think about connect with you because there's a certain way that they looked at it. You can actually see through their eyes what they're seeing.
Present an example of a movie you forgot about. Like, fuck, that would have been perfect.
Yeah.
Can't believe I forgot about that movie.
Right.
Which sucks when it happens.
I'm sure we'll get some comments about terrible comedy sequels. For that.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yesterday, I'm sure there's some comments already sitting there. So, okay. So that's our show. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye-bye.